Kind of. Is it morning?
It's morning. You haven't been to bed yet, huh?
We got to bed.
Eddie Rabbitt, the man who almost changed the course of country music and led the new change, did not have the best life as many thought. Behind the scenes, Eddie battled with inner demons and scary moments. His sudden demise and absence from the music world remain a mystery. However, we are about to unfold the mystery behind the tragic end of Eddie Rabbitt. Don't be shocked by the revelations. The journey to the top. Before we explore Eddie Rabbitt's mysterious demise, let's find out the story behind the man who brought great changes to country music. Fasten your belts and get ready for a great ride into Eddie Rabbitt's world. Edward Thomas Rabbitt, born on November 27, 1941, was an American country music singer and songwriter. Eddie's career started in the late 1960s before moving to a recording career in 1970. During his music career, he won lots of awards and nominations. Did Eddie inherit his musical prowess from his parents? Let's find out. Eddie was born to Irish immigrants, Thomas Michael and May Rabbitt, in Brooklyn, New York City, New York. His childhood was spent in the nearby community of East Orange, New Jersey. His father was an oil refinery refrigeration worker and also a skilled fiddle and accordion player. When Eddie was young, his father would often play in the local New York City dance halls. Eddie watched all these, and gradually, his love for music grew. By age 12, he was a proficient guitar player. He did not learn on his own, but was taught by his scoutmaster, Bob Swickrath. During his childhood, Eddie became a self-proclaimed walking encyclopedia of country music. This was how much Eddie was devoted to music. His life was beautiful and rosy until tragedy struck. His parents decided to get a divorce. After their divorce, Eddie dropped out of East Orange High School at age 16. His mother, May, shared that Eddie was not made for school. According to her, his head was too full of music. Well, she was right, and Eddie's life revealed that much. However, he later obtained a high school diploma at night school. Eddie's journey to the music industry did not start immediately. In the late 1950s, he worked as a mental hospital attendant. He stayed there for a while until he could not hold back anymore. Due to his love for music, Eddie ended up performing at the Six Steps Down Club in his hometown. After performing there, he won a talent contest and was given an hour of Saturday night radio show time. He was told to broadcast a live performance from a bar in Paterson, New Jersey. Right there, his journey to the music world started. In 1964, he signed his first record deal with 20th Century Records and released the singles Next to the Note and 6 Nights and 7 Days. 4 years later, with $1,000 to his name, Eddie moved to Nashville, where he began his career as a songwriter. Singing and writing songs were two different things for Eddie. It was a tough task, but he pulled it off. During his first night in Nashville, Eddie wrote "Working My Way Up to the Bottom," which Roy Drusky later recorded in 1968. Despite his love for music, he was not making enough to fend for himself and his family. To support himself, he worked as a truck driver, soda jerk, and fruit picker in Nashville. He was ultimately hired as a staff writer for the Hill and Range Publishing Company for $37.50 per week. As a young writer, Eddie socialized with other aspiring writers at Wally's Clubhouse, a Nashville bar. He said he and the other patrons had no place else to go. Eddie's career as a songwriter continued, and in 1969, he earned the fame he needed. That year, Elvis Presley recorded his song, "Kentucky Rain." The song went viral and made great headlines. Through the song, Eddie became known as one of Nashville's leading young songwriters. Presley also recorded Eddie's song, "Patch It Up," which was featured in the concert film Elvis, That's the Way It Is. Not only that, Elvis recorded his song Inherit the Wind on the album Back in Memphis. While eating Cap'n Crunch, he penned Pure Love, which Ronnie Millsap rode to #1 in 1974. This song increased Eddie's influence, and it didn't take long for Elektra Records to sign him. In 1975, Eddie signed with Elektra Records. His first single under that label, "You Get to Me," made the top 40 that year, and 2 songs in 1975, "Forgive and Forget" and "I Should Have Married You," nearly made the top 10. Though these songs didn't reach the top, they were included in Eddie's self-named debut album in 1975. Eddie's career continued, and in 1976, he saw the release of his album Rocky Mountain Music. The album included Eddie's first #1 country hit, "Drinkin' My Baby." Later, in 1977, his third album, Rabbitt, was released. The album became a big hit and made the top 5 on the country albums chart. That same year, Eddie started getting the recognition he deserved. The Academy of Country Music named him Top New Male Vocalist of the Year. By that time, Eddie had built a good reputation in Nashville. Critics were comparing him to singer Chris Christopherson. That year, at Knott's Berry Farm, Eddie appeared at the Academy of Country Music Awards and sang many of his songs from Rocky Mountain Music. He also won the top New Male Vocalist of the Year award, his crossover success. Though Eddie was making progress in his career, he was not yet known to everyone. However, with his little fame, he toured with and opened for crossover star Kenny Rogers and also for Dolly Parton on several dates during her 1978 tour. After the 1978 release of Variations, which included 2 more #1 hits, Eddie released his first compilation album. The album, The Best of Eddie Rabbitt, turned out great. It produced his first crossover single, Every Which Way But Loose. This album ended up topping the country charts and reached the top 30 on both the Billboard Hot 100 and Adult Contemporary. The album was also featured in the 1978 Clint Eastwood movie of the same title. The song that broke the record for highest chart debut entered at number 18. It was a great moment for Eddie. For a very long time, he held this record alone until it was matched by Garth Brooks' 2005 single Good Ride Cowboy. Later, in 2006, the record was broken upon the number 17 chart entrance of Keith Urban's Once in a Lifetime. Eddie's next single, the R&B flavored Suspicions from his 1979 album Loveline, became an even greater crossover success. The song reached #1 on country charts, the top 15 on the Billboard Hot 100, and number 5 on the Adult Contemporary charts. Gradually, everyone got to know the name Eddie Rabbitt. On July 10, 1980, he was given his television special on NBC. That was the first airing. During the show, Eddie, Emmylou Harris, and Jerry Lee Lewis made special appearances. Due to Eddie's influence, he was compared to a young Elvis Presley. After achieving a lot, Eddie was smart enough to keep his fans hooked, and he did this by releasing another album. His album, Horizon, turned out to be one of the best albums in his career. According to records, the album hit platinum status and contained the biggest crossover hits of his career, I Love a Rainy Night and Drivin' My Life Away. Later, Eddie developed Rainy Night from a song fragment he penned during a 1960s thunderstorm. Drivin' recalled Eddie's tenure as a truck driver and was inspired by Bob Dylan's song Subterranean Homesick Blues. At this point, Eddie's popularity was so great that he was offered his own variety television show. Surprisingly, Eddie declined this. Respectfully, he said, "It's not worth the gamble." In 1981, Eddie released his Step by Step album. The album continued Eddie's crossover success as all 3 singles reached the top 10 on both country and adult contemporary charts. The title track later became Eddie's 3rd straight single to reach the top 5 on the country, adult contemporary, and Billboard Hot 100 charts. The album later reached gold status. In 1982, Eddie released another album. However, in the album, he decided to team up with another country pop crossover star, Crystal Gayle, on You and I. The song was later included in his album, Radio Romance. The duet reached #1 on the Billboard Country chart and became a pop smash, peaking at number 7 and number 2, respectively, on the Billboard Hot 100 and Adult Contemporary charts. It was used as a love theme for a couple on the soap opera All My Children. Also, in 1983, Eddie released another compilation, Greatest Hits Volume 2. The compilation was his last crossover hit that reached number 15 on the Adult Contemporary chart. As Eddie's career progressed, he moved further away from crossover-styled music. In the 1980s, Eddie's style had changed completely. Not long after this, he released his album, The Best Year of My Life. The album produced a #1 country hit and 3 more top 10 country hits, but none of them had crossover success. Things were not going so smoothly for him that year. He lost his son and stopped music for a while. Later, he released Rabbitt tracks for RCA Records, which included the #1, Both to Each Other. The song was a duet with country pop star Juice Newton. Like You and I, the song was also used as the theme for a soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Later, in 1988, Eddie returned from his hiatus with the release of I Wanna Dance With You. The album was welcomed with lots of negative reviews. However, despite the bad reviews, it produced 2 #1 songs, a cover of Dion's The Wanderer and the album's title track. In addition to that, We Must Be Doing Something Right entered the top 10. Although the album's final single, That's Why I Fell in Love With You, stalled at number 66. Eddie's Capitol Records album, Jersey Boy, was reviewed positively, as was its single, On Second Thought. This was also Eddie's last #1 hit. In the album, he included American Boy, a patriotic tune that was popular during the Gulf War. The song was also used in Bob Dole's 1996 presidential campaign. In 1991, a great decline in chart success happened among country singers. Unfortunately, Eddie was one of them. That year, he released 10 rounds, which ended up producing the final charting single of his career, Hang Up the Phone. After that release, Eddie left Capitol Records to tour with his band Hair Trigger. Later, in 1997, he signed with Intersound Records, but was soon diagnosed with lung cancer. After a round of chemotherapy, he released the album Beatin the Odds. 2 years later, he released his last studio album, Songs from Rabbitland. Eddie's career blossomed because of his creative and innovative techniques. He was able to tie country music themes with light rhythm and blues-influenced tempos. Unlike others, his songs often used echo. Why? Eddie made sure he sang his background vocals, in a process called the Eddie Rabbitt chorale. Eddie was compensated for what Billboard magazine described as a somewhat thin and reedy voice. He was able to achieve this by recording songs in 3-part harmonies. Many times his songs were compared to rockabilly, particularly his album Horizon. His album was noted to have an Elvis-like sound. When asked about this, Eddie only shared that he liked a lot of the old Memphis sounds that came out of Sun Records during the 1950s. He added that he wanted to catch the magic of a live band. He credited such wide-ranging artists as Bob Dylan, Steely Dan, Elvis Presley, and Willie Nelson with influencing his works. When putting together an album, Rabbitt tried to make sure he put in 10 potential singles, no fillers, no junk. For Eddie, his mindset about country music was shaped right from childhood. He remembered listening to albums as a child and hearing 2 hits and a bunch of garbage. Eddie believed that country music was Irish music. Also, he believed that the minor chords in his music gave it that mystical feel. Although he did not strive to produce pop music, his songs greatly helped in influencing the direction of country music. This led to the urban cowboy era during the 1980s. Many people gave reviews about his musical style. One of them was critic Harry Sumrall of the San Jose Mercury News. According to him, Eddie was like a hot corn dog, nothing fancy, nothing frilly. You know what you're getting, and you like it. Never a country purist, Rabbitt nonetheless crafts music that is plain and simple, with all the virtues that make a good country great. His songs might be brisk, but they are also warm and familiar, like the breeze that wafts in over the fried artichokes. In the early 1990s, Eddie openly voiced out his criticism of hip-hop music, especially rap. According to him, hip-hop music was sending the wrong message to the youth. He further stated that the music was inviting a generation, and that it had helped to contribute to the high rates of teenage pregnancy and high school dropouts during that period. For Eddie, music was more than just a means to make money. It meant a lot more. He was loved and adored by many. However, he had his battles to face. The tragic loss.
Son of Janie Girardi Rabbitt.
Eddie's woes started with the loss of his son, Timmy. In 1976, Eddie married Janine Girardi. He had fallen in love with her beauty and personality. He once called her a little thing about 5 feet tall with long, black, beautiful hair and a real pretty face. Eddie, as a lover boy, was cute. He wrote songs like Pure Love and Sweet Janine for her. Their love blossomed and got stronger every day. The Lovebirds were blessed with 3 children, Demelza, Timmy, and Tommy. Timmy was diagnosed with biliary atresia after birth. After the diagnosis, the doctor explained that their son's liver was affected. Also, to get the boy healed, they were advised to get a liver transplant for even the slimmest chances that he would survive. They decided to go ahead and get a liver transplant, but no donor was found. The Rabbitts waited with pain and agony in their hearts. They watched as Timmy was kept alive by life support machines in an intensive care unit. During this period, Eddie was at the peak of his career. He had just released 2 massive hit singles, Drivin' My Life Away and I Love a Rainy Night. These 2 songs gained great fame and popularity, and Eddie was in the limelight. While others were celebrating his great success, Eddie was in agony. He decided to stop singing for a while to stay by his son's side and support him. His manager tried to convince him and wanted them to build on the new success. Eddie refused and chose to stay with Timmy. When asked about this, he once shared in an interview, "I didn't want to be out of the music business, but I was more important there. Maybe it's the chauvinistic Irish in me. I felt like I had to be there if I'm any kind of man." He added, "I decided that it was more important for me to be at home with my wife, who was upset, and my 4-year-old daughter, who was so confused about where her little brother was. And during that time, my wife got pregnant again. She has a healthy little boy who is 17 months old now and is named Tommy. After a long wait, they finally got the call they had been waiting for. They found a donor. Timmy was flown out for the surgery. Unfortunately, after the operation, he was left in a coma as his frail body rejected the transplanted organ. With great pain and heavy emotions, Eddie shared that when his wife and Demelza arrived, Timmy was already unconscious. He said, "Timmy wasn't awake. He was in a kind of coma from which he never came out. It was heavy stuff." His demise was a heavy blow to the family. However, Eddie revealed that despite their loss, they expressed no regrets over getting the transplantation. According to Eddie, existing on machines is not life. The loss was, however, woeful and a very tragic incident for the family. "We would all sit and cry together on Timmy's bed. You feel a little older after something like this," Eddie said. Many years later, Eddie rebuilt his career and got stronger. However, his son's demise influenced his musical works. He revealed this openly by saying, "I weave the pain and suffering of Timmy's passing through my songs. It's a piece of wisdom, but you pay for wisdom." He further shared, "I write all different types of music, which can be a blessing and a curse. I think it's helped me weather the style changes that country music has been going through, but it's also opened me up for a lot of criticism. But basically, I just do what I do." Apart from battling with the loss of his child, Eddie had to fight to maintain his standard in the music industry. While many people saw the man singing passionately, behind the scenes, he was denied his entitlements. Why? Let's find out. Despite his commercial success and his achievements, Eddie was strongly opposed. Although he scored 20 #1 hits and sold millions of records, he was never fully embraced by his country music peers. This may sound shocking, but it's the truth. Though it looked on stage like they all loved him, behind the scenes, the reverse was the case. Throughout his music career, he was never awarded a CMA award. For a music artist who caused great shifts in the industry, this is unbelievable. Eddie was hurt, and he made it known when he said, "A lot of people in the press, especially when we had Driving My Life Away and I Love a Rainy Night, believed that I was going to win some kind of award. But it was up to CMA. I don't know how they do business. I was just reading that the ACM is giving out the Hall of Fame songwriters nominees. I've written more #1 songs as an artist than any of their nominees, and I'm wondering why they don't think of that." Now, this was real hurt coming from a man who had given his all to the industry. While talking about this, he also advised upcoming music artists. He said, "You need 4 things to have a chance in this music business. To start with, you need the dream. You need the talent to back up that dream and the guts to be true to yourself. And you need persistence. Persistence to stay and stay, to stick it through." After winning the ACM Top New Male Vocalist in 1977, he was shut out from major industry recognition. The awards that should have been his were denied him. Why the hate? For one, Eddie's musical style got him into lots of trouble. Known for his unique style, he gradually moved from traditional country to pop and crossover hits. His ability to blend easily in situations like this brought him huge success in the late 70s and 80s, especially with his songs I Love a Rainy Night and Driving My Life Away. He was applauded and celebrated by his audience for a great delivery of the songs. Unfortunately, the applause didn't reach the music industry. He earned more hate for trying to stand out and build his style. There were rumors that Eddie was treated more like an outsider in the country community. Things turned sour for him when the new traditionalist movement started.
Since you have been gone.
When the movement began, Eddie's style was no longer favored. People preferred other musical styles. During this period, Eddie struggled in pain and silence. He watched everything he had built fade away. By the late 80s and early 90s, new country artists took over. Artists like Garth Brooks and Alan Jackson took over and dominated the stage. Everyone loved their songs and style. Gradually, Eddie was taken away from the limelight. However, despite the great changes, he made sure to give the music his all. Unfortunately, despite his continued success, he was dropped by his major label. This was a major setback for him. He had to move from one record label to another. For instance, he moved from Elektra to Warner Brothers to RCA. After leaving RCA, he moved to Universal and stopped at Capitol Nashville. It was not an easy one for him, and this affected him. However, the struggles also revealed Eddie's ability to adapt in challenging and unfavorable situations. Despite it all, he pushed. Unfortunately, he could not take it anymore, and he fell into depression. There were speculations that Eddie ended up seeking solace in alcohol and got addicted to it. The tragic end.
This is not the cemetery that has all the famous country singers.
Eddie Rabbitt's end came at a point when no one expected it. Eddie had gotten used to smoking and alcohol, and this affected his lungs. On May 7th, 1998, he lost his life in Nashville from lung cancer. He was 56. His demise shook the music industry. No one expected it. Before his demise, he had been diagnosed with lung cancer in March 1997, and he had received radiation treatment and surgery to remove part of one lung. His family members thought all was well until life played a trick on them. Upon the request of his family, no media outlet reported his passing until after the burial. His body was interred at Calvary Cemetery in Nashville on May 8, 1998. The news came as a shock to many people in Nashville, especially his performer's agent, who had no idea Eddie was terminal. The agent shared that he had talked with him often, and according to him, Eddie was always upbeat and cheerful in the final months of his life. His demise led to many emotional remarks from people. Los Angeles Country Music Academy Executive Director Fran Boyd said concerning Eddie, not only was he a great entertainer, but he was a great people person as well. He will be missed. Variety also shared Eddie's best moments in his previous interviews to show the kind of man he was. For Eddie, music was life. Before he passed away, while in an interview with Reuters, he said, "I always break 3 or 4 guitar strings per show and fling them at the audience." He was truly a people person. Michael McCall also shared an interesting fact about Eddie. According to him, Eddie grew up in East Orange and became a country music superstar in Nashville. However, he never stopped being a Jersey boy. Coming out of New Jersey was unusual for a person who became as big as he did in country music. Michael McCall, Associate Director of Editorial for the Country Music Hall of Fame, told NJ Advanced Media in 2022. Michael added, "His writing appealed to people long before he was making hit records." Not only Michael, but also Ellen Emery has something good to say. Ellen shared that he once saw Eddie sing on weekends at the Hurricane Bar. There, she met him. He would sit there having breakfast and have a napkin there and start writing on it. He was always writing lyrics, Emery said. Many other people talked about Eddie, and it was obvious to everyone that he loved music more than his life. Before his demise, Eddie once said, "I wanted to do country music. That's all I ever did when I was a kid. Anyone who thinks I was pop and then decided to go to the country is wrong. I was country. And it just so happened that the kind of music I was making in country music crossed over to the pop charts." His passing hurt his family more because they knew how much he struggled to be alive for their sake. During the moments he struggled with the cancer, he said, "We started recording back in January, then I went in for chemotherapy and radiation. When we got close to the surgery date, it looked like we weren't going to be able to finish it. I was singing real strong, better actually than I'd ever done before because I was a man on a mission." Eddie not only loved his family, he also gave to philanthropy. Throughout his career, he served as an advocate for many charitable organizations. For instance, he supported the Special Olympics, Easter Seals, and the American Council on Transplantation. For these organizations, he served as the honorary chairman. Also, Eddie acted as a spokesman for the Muscular Dystrophy Association and United Cerebral Palsy. When he passed, his contributions to country music were revealed more. Later, in 1998, he was inducted into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame. Eddie was also a great supporter of Primary Wave. His music was not only celebrated by the music community, but by Primary Wave as well. Lexi Todd, Vice President Business and Legal Affairs at Primary Wave Music, said, "Eddie Rabbitt's music has left a lasting impression in the country music community and beyond. We are thrilled to welcome the catalog of such an iconic performer and songwriter." Eddie's charity work rubbed off on his wife, Janine. His wife also became a strong advocate for cancer research and worked tirelessly to raise awareness of the disease. She supported music education and has helped fund music programs in schools across the country. Today, Eddie Rabbitt's name is remembered for life for his great impact on the music industry. This is the mystery behind Eddie Rabbitt's life. What do you think about Eddie Rabbitt's life? Do you think he deserved the hate? Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Before you go, watch the other videos displayed on your screen.